Hi everyone, welcome to another assembly video at CraftTangles, and today we'll be learning how to assemble Gaddi box. So this is how the packet comes. It contains 10 pieces in it and we'll be making 5 total Gaddi box with the packet. So here is how one Gaddi box looks like and we will see how to make the same. So let's get started. So here are the two pieces that you'll need to make one Gaddi box. We'll first make the base piece or the box part. And here you can see all the scoring lines that are part that is already pre-scored for you, right? So here what I'm doing is using my hand. I am kind of moving the paper along and then scoring it on the edges, right? Along the where the score lines are provided. Now here you can also use scale to bend the paper easily. If you are a beginner especially, then I would highly recommend that you use a scale rather than just using your fingers, and also use the scoring tool, which is that pink tool that I am using to burnish the edges. If you don't have a scoring tool, you can use things like an old card of something, like an old credit card or an old debit card, something like that. So that what that will do is it will give you the shape of the box. Okay, so how this Gaddi box works is there are four scoring lines on the right, four scoring lines on the left, and then you'll find four scoring lines on the top and bottom also. I have kept the speed of the scoring very slow so that in case you are stuck anywhere, you can always go back and look at it again. Or if you have understood, you can always forward and skip to the next step, right? So I'll just complete the scoring and then we'll move on to the next part. So once the scoring of all the four sides are done, we'll also be scoring these small tabs. So I'm just, using a hand because those tabs are very tiny. So just be extra careful that, they don't break off when, you are scoring. So now here you can see how the tab looks, and here is the small corners, that is where the bottom part and the right or left part meets, right? So those are scored in the diagonal, they are already pre-scored on the diagonal edge. Okay, so just pinch and create that diagonal fold like how I am doing on all the four sides, and what that will do is that will fold inside and will help us with the box stability. Okay, so here you can see how I'm pinching using my thumbs and moving that diagonal triangles that will form literally, due to the diagonal pre-scored line. And that is how the two edges will form on the right angled direction. Okay, so it's very simple. You'll probably need to watch a video a couple of times and, just use that base and try the scoring. Go slowly with each step. Once you get a hang of it, you'll be able to replicate pretty quickly. Okay, so now you can see how I have folded on the large or the longer side, and then those small tabs have kind of notches, okay, which will form the uh, positive negative kind of a thing, and they will interlock with each other. So you can see how those notches have the gaps, right? So those gaps kind of attach with each other, and this is how they interlock. So what this does is it helps with the stability of the box. If we would have skipped that, the box would have been a little flimsy, which we did not want, right? And now the smaller or the shorter side, I'm following the same thing, just folding it and tucking it inside, so that whole interlocking mechanism is hidden. Okay, so very simple. Whatever I did on the longer side, I'm repeating on the shorter side. Okay, so this is how you form a box. Now this it itself is looking sturdy. However, to reinforce the edges, right, the corners, because we don't want our box to open up later on, what I'll be doing is I'll be adding some liquid glue. So I'll be pushing those liquid glue between the gaps that you see on the corners. Okay, so here you can see I'm using some Fevicol and I'm kind of pushing the Fevicol into the gap on the corners. Okay, and then whatever extra Fevicol oozes out of those corners, I'm just dabbing it with a tissue so that it doesn't come outside and it doesn't create the whole sticky mess. Now since we are working with liquid glue, it will take a minute or two to dry. That is why I'm holding it with my fingers and making sure that once the glue dries, it will maintain its shape. Okay, so this step is also very important. Make sure that you are using liquid glue. You give it a minute or two, remove all the excess glue with a tissue and hold the shape, okay, so that it will maintain that shape once the glue dries. Once that is done, we will now create the lid. Now, lid part is very simple. There are two scoring lines. You can see how I am using again my fingers and the same scoring tool and kind of burnishing the edges and making sure that they fold very easily. So you can also repeat the same step with me. And now you can see how the lid has been created and how the box will go inside the lid, right? And then we can use a tying mechanism on top of it, magnetic closure, whatever you like, right? So how do I stick the box onto the lid is using some red tacky tape. So I'm using red tacky tape because it is mess free. If you like liquid glue, you can of course use Fevicol here also. However, make sure that you hold the box onto the lid for a couple of minutes, because as I said, liquid glue will take a minute or two to dry. So here I have added the tape along the scoring line, which is the base part, and then I am removing the silicone release of the tape, and then I will align the box along the scoring edge. So do you see that scoring edge is where I'm aligning my left side of the box, and then I am just pushing my box so that everything is aligned from right, left, top, bottom. Okay, and that is how you make the Gaddi box. And now for top, I'm just showing you how you can, tie a ribbon and do the closure. Of course, decoration and all those will come later, and we'll soon have a video for you all for that too. We'll probably do a live around it. So stay tuned.